We are talking to Duncan Roy. Duncan, good morning, my man.
Good morning, Big J. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Interestingly enough, we had this interview coming up with you, and somehow we got in this huge discussion about homosexuality this morning.
Oh my God! I can imagine that was a bit of a hot potato.
Well, yeah, we're in Montana. Yes, it definitely was. But we had a guy here in town that's in high school still, and he came out to his parents, and they're not really receptive to it, and won't let him kind of act on it, and it's blowing up. So now we're going to move on to sex and being addicted to sex.
Wait a minute. So how old is this kid?
This kid's 17.
And his parents have thrown him out.
Well, they haven't thrown. They just won't let him date, and they won't. They're trying to tell him it's just a phase, and they're kind of trying to get the gayness out of him.
Well, so what, by going to Christians and dealing with it like that?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're doing to try to do it, but it's
they'll fail, won't they? Unless they've got to be loving and kind to their son, and otherwise it's gonna backfire. They're not going to have a relationship with him. That's very sad that they're choosing to skew their relationship with their child.
That's what I was saying. There were some guys that called in and said, I've got young kids and I'm trying to show them hot ladies on TV and stuff to make sure they're not gay. And I said, I don't think it works that way.
No, I don't think it does. I mean, I think the way that there are lots of ways of being gay. I think you can come as far as I'm concerned. There are three major ways you can be gay. You can be born like it. You can be sexualized. If you've had a lot of abuse in your childhood, I think there's evidence that you can be sexualized. And thirdly, is that you might have a choice, and that's a very serious issue for a lot of gay people and straight people in this country, because those are the people at either end of the agenda either end of the spectrum that determine the agenda. Mm-hmm. I personally believe that the majority of people have a range of sexual possibilities open to them for the majority of their lives, which is why that's what happens. So, but whilst if you sleep with a man once and you're a guy, you get thrown out of the guy camp and into the gay camp. I mean, you're going to keep quiet about it. I mean, but sleeping with a guy once is not going to make you gay. That's the other thing I want to say, is that otherwise most of my friends in England would be gay.
So you can say, most of the people, I mean, it's common in England for guys to mess around with other guys and not be gay.
Well, not common. I mean, I would just say that, if it happened, it wouldn't be a big deal. Here it's a big deal because, it's a shame-based society, a Christian shame-based society. I mean, we're a secular society. So, it's not a big deal if those things happen. And in fact, when I was a kid, if you slept with a fat girl, if you were a straight guy and you slept with a fat girl, you were more of a guy. And now I think there's a kind of thing as, oh yeah, well, I had a freeway with my friend and a girl, and, we messed around a bit. And, you're so secure with your sexuality, you can do anything. Mm-hmm. It's only really when you get here, when you get the gays who don't believe in bisexuality and the straights who don't believe in bisexuality, and the bisexuals just keep quiet because they think, well, you know what, we're having a great time and they're not going to mess with us. So, I mean, I think it's not an issue about you doing. Otherwise, the other thing is that it's very kind of gender-based. I mean, women, men love the idea of women together. Does that mean that the women are suddenly gay? No, it doesn't. It just means that they're sort of acting something out for their men. I mean, you've got to be more open-minded. You've got to be more sexually fluid in this country if things are going to change for the majority of people that live here. And less Christian.
Less Christian, more gay, everything will work.
No, not more gay, just more open.
More tolerant.
More open to the truth about who we are.
More sexually...
Just Christian morality, sort of Christian ideal of what we are.
So, more sexually liberated, just more open.
Sexually honest. Just honest. I think just honest about who we are and what we want to do. And if you want to try things out, rather than be shameful about it, because lots of people are trying those things out, but they go into a shame spiral and end up behaving really badly, and or going online and looking at stuff, and it's a big problem. I think. I mean, I come from a very liberal part of the world, which is Europe, and so we just seem to be doing okay. And there's no kind of, we're not burning in hell over there, and the streets are not crumbling, and it's a good place to be, and just because we're a bit more open and honest about our sexuality.
Let's get to real quick before we miss the boat here. I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff, but let's get to Sex Rehab tonight, 11 o'clock on VH1. What's the deal? What brings you to this show? What are your issues with sex?
Well, my issues with sex where I couldn't leave the house for 3 years because I was looking at pornography, and I got completely obsessed with porn. And, the issue for me is that I transferred all of my addictions from drugs and alcohol, which I gave up 13 years ago, into intrigue, seduction, the internet, and I'm an addict. So wherever I get my intensity, I'm going to go, and that was where I went. And so now I'm having a healthy relationship with sex, and I know there's a lot of confusion about sex addiction. People go, "Oh, how you can be a sex addict?" Well, you know what? You look at very, very big people, fat people, and you think, well, that guy obviously can't stop eating. So you've got to have a healthy relationship with food. If you're overweight, just look at Oprah. She talks about her healthy relationship with food. We as sex addicts have to have a healthy relationship with sex, and that means not altering my course, being appropriate, making sure that I stay away from the internet, having sex within the confines of a intimate relationship rather than just like spreading seed. And,
I thought you were going to say in the confines of a house.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to stop having sex in trees and parks and everywhere.
Well, wherever. I don't know. I don't have a problem with that either, but go on.
Very interesting. I wanted to ask now that the show sounds awesome, and it's sex addiction just intrigues me, but you were talking about, being really sexually open and, just being sexually honest, as you said. Like, do you think for a guy like me, I was saying earlier this morning, I don't have any problem with people who are gay, but for myself, like, to imagine me with a man, there's no appeal there whatsoever. Do you think I'm, like, repressing something, or do you think I'm honestly just interested in women?
I think you're just interested in what you say you're interested in. I mean, I don't think that you're anything other than what you say you are. You see, that's the other problem with this country, is that the moment people are very prescriptive about other people's sexuality. He's gay, and it's a way of damning other people. I don't have any clue what you are unless you tell me you're something unless you tell me you're happy with who you are, I mean, if you say you're a straight guy who doesn't look at other guys, then fine. I mean, and how old are you?
I'm 24.
So, you're 24 years old. So, I mean, you've scarcely begun this adventure into your own sexuality. I mean, it's an evolving thing. Sex is an evolving thing, like an intellect or like taste or like anything. And I'm not suggesting that one day you're going to turn around, but you know what? You don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know after a heavy night of drinking where you're going to find yourself. So, I mean, the point is that, you can say whatever you say you are right now, as I can, but, we evolve. We evolve as humans, and we evolve sexually.
Interesting. One last question here before we get rid of you, Duncan, from our Big J Show TV here on the internet. They want to know, when did you realize that you were gay? At what point in your life?
When did I realize I was gay? Can I tell you that gay is not a word that sits very well with me nowadays, simply because it's not been that entire story. I haven't just slept with men. I still, when I've had opportunities to sleep with women, I still do. And the issue for me about gay is I'm a man who has sex with men, but I'm not a man who is not open to the idea of women. And also, the other thing is that gay, for me, has increasingly meant a lifestyle which includes drugs and alcohol and acting out sexually, and I don't want anything to do with that. So, a lot of the stuff that people say about me online is, if he doesn't want to have gay sex, then he's not gay. Gay men are just as prescriptive about sexuality, very prescriptive about sexuality amongst their own. So, for me, when did I like sleeping with men? Start sleeping with men when I was about 12 years old, 13 years old.
Wow. Excellent.
Answer to your question.
Duncan, very, very interesting. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again sometime in the future, but we're out of time. Tonight, 11 o'clock on VH1 Sex Rehab. You can see Duncan on the show. Great talking to you, man, and we wish you the best of luck in your future. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you so much for having me on.
Bye,
Thanks
Duncan.
a lot.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.